Hi everyone. My name is Sophia Wikander, and I'm joining from Stockholm. Let's see if I can get this to work. No, I can't. There we go. So, joining from Stockholm, it's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm actually now I need my notes here. So I'm gonna try to speak Portuguese for one sentence, so bear with me here. Bom dia. Estou muito feliz por estar em Lisboa para uma conferência Building the Future. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. So I work as the financial lead for Western Europe at Microsoft, recently joined, coming with 19 years in banking, and have been working with innovation, digital transformation, and data-driven services for more than 10 years. I did a little bit of comparison between Sweden and Portugal. We're about the same amount of people, a little bit more than 10 million. If I look at your innovation history, I would say that you beat us by millions when you, in the 15th and 16th century, more or less ruled the world in the era of discovery. Yes, we did have the Vikings, but honestly, not sophisticated, according to me. Anyway, I also looked at your innovation and what has been done in Portugal the last years. And it seems like you've really been skyrocketing since 2016. It's extremely impressive to see the development that you have done in innovation and the broadness of the areas that you've been looking at. And for me, with an experience in banking, I think that's extraordinarily important. Because banking, I can't think of any other industry that is more connected with other industries, i.e. their customers, across the entire society, for corporates, for regulators, and for consumers. And that collaboration and connection is increasing day by day, both because we're becoming more and more global, but also because we're becoming more and more digital. But looking into the Nordics then, which is where I've had my base during the time that I've been in banking. So our capital in Sweden have bred more tech unicorns per capita than any other region in the world. It's also the second highest rate of unicorn companies per capita in the world. The areas, if we look at the Nordics, so going from Sweden to the Nordics, if you look at the distribution of where innovation have been done, the majority is, of course, technology, followed by or software and technology, and financial services coming a little bit further down. But you know, as someone said before, financial services more and more becoming a technology company. I've been thinking a little bit about why the Nordics have been so innovative. I mean, we have Klarna, we have Spotify being the big unicorns that most people know of, but there's several others, of course. I think there are a few different reasons. One of them is that very early, the government decided to have compulsory education, meaning already in the over 200 years ago, that became the norm. So education and learning was really, really important. The other thing that I think sticks out is that in the 1990s, the government decided that the entire Sweden should be connected to internet. Sweden is a very long country, so it was quite a thing to decide on. The other thing that they decided on in the 90s was that anyone who would like to borrow money to buy a computer for their own home would get that very subsidized. They wanted every home in Sweden to have a computer because they realized that digitalization was key. And this was in the 1990s. If I look at banking and where I've been involved, one of the things that sticks out is the collaboration that you have between banks. So if you see during the last 10 years, or actually 20 years, sorry, there's been a lot of collaboration where banks have joined forces despite competition in order to find solutions that mostly because they didn't have the funding themselves and they needed to co-fund together with others, but also because they saw that together we will have quite a big distribution capability compared to if we do it one-on-one. So 2003 we had the National Digital ID, and 8 years later it became a mobile digital identification, which is used all over. The difference there is that it's owned by banks. That's not the common thing in other countries. 2012, we started with an instant payment on your mobile, meaning that you could clear and settle payments in real time between consumers. I was part of that project when it started, and I really, to be honest, didn't really understand how we were going to do it. Today, 8 million out of the 10.5 million Swedes are using Swish, and I must say that it's more or less the way that I communicate with my teenage daughters. Mom, can you swish me some money? And then, okay, I do it. Now it's moved on to also being used by corporates, so approximately 300,000 corporates are doing Swish payments either internally or towards your customers. You can also request the payment, which means that the whole invoicing system is to some extent disrupted. The Nordics is quite a small region, 27 million in total, and therefore creating a common infrastructure, payment infrastructure, was something that was looked into. In 2017, P27 started, and it's in the building right now. Then the same year, a global, so not a Nordic, but a global trade finance solution, WeTrade, started based on blockchain technology, and with the purpose to both streamline, increase security, and decrease the paper in trade finance. And then in 2019, know your customer was a big problem for banks, and therefore a joint venture to have a Nordic KYC utility was established. So quite a lot of innovations, and I think that's what I'm most proud of in regards to that is that banks are really collaborating in this space. And it will be super interesting to hear about the collaborations that are going on in Portugal. And I know that there will be quite a lot of those presentations during the day today. So looking at the top trends that we are seeing across Western Europe in 2023, optimizing the digital experience is something that has been around for quite some time. What I think is key here is to combine the physical experience with the digital one. We're not there of having a completely digital experience for all the different things we're doing, but the combination will be the key thing to be able to do. Collaboration anywhere. Collaboration across industries, collaboration to serve your customers better, to secure that you are present where the customers are. I think the best example of that is WeChat in China, with 1.27 billion or 25 billion users, and they are more or less in control of the entire life of their users. Anything you want to do, anything you would like to do or see or experience, you can do over the WeChat app. And I think the collaboration there between industries, and that's why I think this event is so fantastic, because it's different industries joining forces and looking at how to build the future together, and that will be key going forward. The value of data, I think that's a tricky part. You need to use it. The more digitized we become, the more data we have, of course, but it's also a matter of trust. How can people trust us in banking or in technology companies to be the right custodians of the data, to utilize that in the best way for us, but also securing that we're having it safe. Another part of data is about the monetization of data, which I know is something that a lot of banks and other companies are looking into. And that's, again, a matter of trust. How much can you monetize a person's data? And what are the boundaries that you're willing to break? And what do you need to give back to the person in order to do that? API-driven technology have been here for quite some time. But we need to speed it up. And as we heard earlier today, OpenAI API is here. And I'm personally super excited of what that can do and how that can enable people in every single industry to achieve more. The climate piece and sustainability is something that I think has risen the last years. The other parts of the trends, you can see at least bits of them from before, but the sustainability piece is definitely much stronger now. And there I think banks has a super important role to play, and the financial service, because they have so much data and they have so much power to force both customers, consumers and corporates to be more sustainable, but also to share the information about how they can become more sustainable based on their consumptions or what they invest in. Last but not least, the agility. I think that is the key thing that when I was running innovation for Nordea, that was the key thing for me to secure, that we were agile towards our corporate customers, towards the people working in our organizations, and towards the consumers. And again, back to optimizing the value for our customers. If you're not agile in choosing technology, in choosing the right solutions for your customers, you will not succeed. And pace is so fast now, so the agility is more key than ever. When I look at the millennials, who are born with internet and born with mobile phones, more or less, it's not going to be long until they are, older. And being part of, to a much higher degree, being part of a majority of the consumption in the world, but also driving the workforce and the way of working going forward. I think it's super exciting to see what will happen in the coming 5-6 years, also based on that the millennials are entering the market in a different level than they're doing today, both in regards to how they work, but also what they consume and what they will demand from and create for their customers and from their employers. So if I'm going to drill down to 3 things that I think are main focus areas in banking, it's definitely becoming more data-driven as a bank. That has been the case in the front end for quite some time, especially for consumers. I'm super passionate about the back-end side, what technology can do, and how you integrate the legacy systems in banking with the new interfaces, with fintechs, and with other companies, maybe even your corporate companies, in order to create ecosystems and in order to efficiently serve your customers and the employees in the organization. I think that is more important than ever now in the society that we're living in, which is quite turbulent, to be able to combine the full picture of your customer in order to guide them both when it comes to their savings, their spendings, and their insurances. The true client centricity is reached when you're able to also have a 360 or 720 picture of your customer, and being able to also understand what the customer really wants from you. Do I want you to have the full view of my engagement with you as a bank or a fintech, or do I want to have my privacy? And by using data and AI, and also speeding up the customer dialogue in the sense that you actually have enough information to ask the real questions, will create more customer centricity. Then reaching the next level of efficiency is of course key to any banks, and they need help there from technology, from fintechs and other companies that have done things differently, looking at different industries, and also different regions, and in my case then in Western Europe, to secure that we leverage the efficiency that is out there. When I joined Microsoft, I did that. I left banking and joined a technology company because I felt that I think there's more efficiency gains to be done. I think there are more and richer offerings possible if banking is using technology in a better way. And I must say that I was blown away by the possibilities that I'm seeing when I'm now on the technology side and can combine that with the experience in banking. But technology is not everything. The biggest and most important thing in order to create sustainable changes and truly digitize and transform as an organization is the culture. I put in a few examples here of customers of Microsoft that have done the transformation, starting with technology, but really embedded the culture piece of the transformation, ensuring that their employees are fully on board with the technology, understand it, embrace it, and try it out. I will not go into detail on all of the different cases, but I'm sure the material is distributed and there's more material inside of each of the reference case. Now I'm going to hand over to the next speaker. We have a fantastic lineup, so I'm super curious to listen in to the things that I understand. And I don't understand Portuguese, so I hope that most of it will be in English. Thank you so much for having me, and enjoy the rest of the sessions.